They thought it was the perfect crime until the body was found. You're listening to Hidden Killers with Tony Brueski, featuring psychotherapist and author Shavaun Scott.
The case against Robert Tellis, it is certainly a fascinating one. And as we're recording this right now, still no verdict. They've gone now about a day and a half, almost to 2 days now, with the jury deliberating. By the time you listen to this or see this, there may be a verdict. Joining me to discuss, Shavaun Scott, psychotherapist and author. I'm shocked that it's been taking this long, and I'm really kind of wondering what the verdict is going to be once it comes out. This seemed like a case with a lot of information that was not looking good for him. What on earth could be going on back there in the jury room that's taking him this long?
Yeah, it was fascinating watching his testimony, his interesting hours-long narrative of his side of the story here. Quite a sales pitch from him. And I thought at the moment, nobody could be buying any of this. But now we wonder, was this influential for somebody on the jury?
I don't know. I mean, all they need is one. That's what it comes down to. And I've said at this whole thing, I said there's no such thing as an open and shut case. As much as I thought this one was, this is taking longer than some other ones that I thought, were a little bit, more questionable. Let's take a look at some of the testimony, and I want to get your reaction. We looked at some last week from the prosecution and his narrative. We're going to look at some on cross as well here, and just try to break this down into what is going on with Robert Tellis. We'll start here with Robert denying everything on the stand. Let's take a look at that.
I did not cut up a shoe and hide it under my couch. I did not cut up a hat and put it in an open door of my toolbox. I did not kill Mr. Gurman, so I did not take a bag with my children's basketball and football out of the bin and used during the commission of a murder. Again, I didn't kill Mr. Gurman. I am not the kind of person who would stab someone.
The objection was sustained.
Okay. So, I've never beat anybody up. I've never killed anybody. I didn't kill Mr. Gurman.
So that's Robert Tellis telling us 50 different ways that he's not a killer. I want to make note here of an interesting tell, I think, that he has. And we're going to see it again in another clip, the way that he vocalizes discomfort. Did you notice that in there where he says, I am not the kind of person to stab someone? And it's something where I've noticed in other pieces of testimony when he's uncomfortable about something that he has done. And I'm not saying he did this, but I'm just noticing this tell when he talks about something that he has done. And we're going to talk about the affair in a little bit. He talks like that on that specific point of guilt. What's your takeaway on that?
Sure could be. The thing that jumps out at me is how much he reminds me of a politician with his confidence,
Yes.
And this oozing narcissism, this sense that with this, affect that he puts on. And again, we talked about him having this histrionic quality that he seems to me to be going for best actor role here. He's really putting a lot of oomph into this. Mm-hmm. And in my way of viewing it, this narcissism and the idea that he can get on the stand with this completely bizarre tale involving conspiracy of basically everyone in town is what it ended up sounding like. That made no sense. I tried to tune in and determine, can I even follow what this story is supposed to be? And I don't think anybody could really make sense of it. But this confidence, I think that's his Achilles heel because it's so narcissistic. It's bizarre.
But I'm wondering if it's going to make that impact on that jury. If he gets off on this, there's some, we got to examine that jury, like what is going on, or even a hung
really
jury.
feels like anybody could do anything if he gets off.
It really does. Let's take a look at that affair clip. And again, keep a close eye and ear to when he talks about the affair itself and his tone and affect on it. Let's take a look at.
When you spoke with him, were you truthful in your interview?
Not entirely, no.
Okay. What were you untruthful about?
About the extent of the relationship with me and Roberta Lee Kennett.
Okay. What was different? What did you say versus the truth?
I said that, she and I had no affair.
There you go.
But, regrettably, we did have, and when I say regrettably, I think we both regret the mistake, but we had a romantic affair with each other.
Okay, so you did lie to him, correct, on that topic?
I didn't think that was for the public's business.
Had an affair? Same with, I didn't stab him.
Yeah, that's a really good little subtle tell. You nailed it.
That's interesting to me. I mean, is that just me thinking this? Or do people have tells like that? I guess, anytime you talk about something that makes you uncomfortable, one could speak that way, but does it reveal deception?
Sure could. I'm one to say, people display emotion and lying, and we've all got unique patterns, but certainly it shows up in the body in different ways, and you can see vocal changes like that. So that's certainly a good guess.
Yeah, it's, and I've noticed other times in the trial too, I don't have him on hand here, where he talks like that on certain issues, especially when talking about the murder itself.
You're neck deep in a dark, twisted tale, and just as the tension peaks, bam, a commercial about some miracle diet pill breaks the spell. It's like finding a fly in your soup after the first bite. But here's the fix. True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts. You get to enjoy your crime stories without the junk. Ad-free episodes, extended interviews that go beyond the surface, and early access to all the gruesome details. It's like swapping out a can of cheap beer for a glass of fine whiskey. So search for True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts. Subscribe and keep the darkness flowing uninterrupted.